This is a GCSE video on the components of a balanced diet, and we're going to look at first of all something called macronutrients, which are our big nutrients, our big food sources, and we have three of those. We have carbohydrates, and you must call them carbohydrates in your examination. Don't call them carbs, you won't get any marks for that. We have proteins and we have fats. So there are three big macronutrients. They make up the majority of our diet. Now carbohydrates are really simple. They give us our energy. Just get rid of that pen, it's not working. So carbohydrates give us our energy. Proteins help for growth and repair of muscles, tissues and bones. So essential for after a hard training session on a hard game to rebuild all those broken muscle fibers. And fats are an insulator. So they're an insulator, but they also are a secondary source of energy. And if we just break that down in a little bit more detail, we have two types of forms of carbohydrates. We have simple carbohydrates, which break down quickly and they release energy quickly into the body. So that's like a Mars bar, Lucozade, and that might be quite useful for a 100-meter sprinter. And then we have complex carbohydrates, which are like stodgy foods like pastas, rices, bananas, that break down a lot slower, but they release energy slower also. So they'd be useful in like a triathlon or an endurance race. Fats also have two elements to them. We have what we call high density lipoproteins and low density lipoproteins. Now the high density is like a high five, that's a good thing. They are really good fats, so they have good cholesterol, whereas the low density lipoproteins, they have bad fats in. So these are like cakes, chocolates, fried foods. So this is the food type that we like, and the other one over here is not so good for us, and this can block our arteries with cholesterol, which obviously creates heart issues. Then we have our micronutrients. So these nutrients are slightly smaller variations of the macronutrients, but they're still essential in our diet. We have vitamins, and we have minerals, and we have fibre. So these are the key three micronutrients. So we have them in smaller quantities than what we have the macronutrients. Now vitamins are really important because they strengthen bones, they help heal wounds, so if we have an injury through sport they can help that. They bolster our immune system, so they help with our immunity. They repair cellular damage, and they also help convert food into energy. So that's vitamins, and we can find those in fruits and veggies. Minerals are slightly different. They help the body to grow and develop still, and they help bones specifically, but they also help with nerve endings. A great example for this one is to look at iron in our diet. We need iron, and it helps us to not become anemic. So if we have a lack of iron or a deficiency of a mineral, then we can become poorly and our immune system can be compromised. Finally, we have fibre, and fibre is the roughage. It helps keep our digestive system regular, and we can find fibre in foods like rice, pasta, grains. And just going back to minerals, there's some variations of minerals that are useful to know about. Obviously, where do we find them? We can find them in foods such as fruit and veg. In most of our foods there'll be minerals, and it's a really essential part of our diet. I've run out of space to write about water, so I'll just talk about water really quickly. It's in everything that we eat and drink. It's essential to keep us from being dehydrated. And when we're dehydrated, we lose something called electrolytes. And electrolytes are absolutely essential. We find them in things like potassium, calcium, really important for us. So the perfect thing to keep us hydrated is actually drinking water. That's the best thing, not sports drinks, that will dehydrate us. But actually the second best thing is something that's got electrolytes and carbs in, simple carbs like orange squash. And that's why a lot of tennis players will drink that between the intervals. So there's a quick snapshot of a balanced diet. These are the key things you need to know. We've got macronutrients, carbohydrates, proteins and fats. We have micronutrients, which is our minerals, vitamins and fibre, and then water is in everything that we do.